Hello, dear friends, welcome to our YouTube channel, USA Football Zone, latest football highlights. The World Cup, truly there is nothing quite like it. It is not merely a tournament, it is a global pilgrimage, a month-long festival that unites millions through a shared passion. It is that moment, arriving once every 4 years, when the world stands still adorned in flags, singing national anthems, and daring to believe that the impossible can become reality. Such were the hopes for the 2026 World Cup, billed as the biggest World Cup of all time. It was set to span 3 nations and evolve into a massive global celebration, yet it seems that dream is colliding with a harsh reality. While this colossal global festival is primarily taking place in the United States, it is turning into a nightmare for the very international fans it was meant to welcome. The 2026 World Cup was touted as the most inclusive tournament in history. However, as the event draws nearer, a starkly different picture is emerging, one defined by exclusion, frustration, and anxiety. Let us explore how skyrocketing prices, impossible visa regulations, and bizarre travel conditions threaten to ruin the world's greatest festival before it even begins. Let us start with the biggest hurdle: money. The 2026 World Cup is shaping up to be the most expensive tournament in history. For the millions of fans who save for years to support their teams, current prices are not just astronomical, they feel like an insult. It appears FIFA and the organizers are testing the limits of what the market will bear regarding ticket prices. Although official ticket sales have begun in phases, prices on the secondary market and for premium packages are staggering. Standard seats for group stage matches exceed $300, while prime seating easily costs $700 or more. Want to watch the final at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey? Online listings have shown lower-tier seats going for nearly $9,000. Of course, organizers will point out that there are limited discounted tickets available, offering some seats at lower prices. However, for ordinary fans, this appears more like a public relations stunt than a genuine solution. Then there is the resale market, where FIFA is reportedly exploring new ways to claim a share of the proceeds. A potential commission system could involve deducting a percentage from the seller and charging an additional fee to the buyer. Just imagine, on a $1,000 ticket, FIFA could pocket a significant portion of the transaction, leaving the seller with less money and the new buyer paying more. This system seems designed to drive up prices and ensure FIFA profits at every stage. This arbitrary price hike isn't limited to the stadium gates. Bizarre reports are emerging regarding parking as well. In some lots near stadiums in Los Angeles and New Jersey, charges are reportedly reaching as high as $200 or $300. When you add it all up, tickets, travel, accommodation, and parking, the tournament seems to be slipping out of reach for ordinary fans around the world. It really makes one wonder, who is this World Cup for? If you believe that football belongs to the fans rather than just the highest bidder, please subscribe and join the conversation below. This is a discussion we need to have, but even if one can afford the tickets, simply entering the country presents a separate challenge. The United States feels more like a bureaucratic fortress than a welcoming host, threatening the very spirit of this global gathering. As things stand, strict U.S. travel policies have become a major concern for fans worldwide. These policies create significant barriers to entry for citizens of many nations, including those whose teams have qualified for the tournament. While teams and their essential staff will likely be exempt from these policies, the U.S. State Department has given no indication that such exemptions will extend to ordinary fans, journalists, or sponsors from specific countries. Consequently, thousands of people are facing the harsh reality that they might be denied the chance to watch matches in the United States. Bureaucratic hurdles are immense. For instance, a BBC analysis based on previous State Department data revealed that visa rejection rates for citizens of several eligible countries already exceeded 40% for fans from nations like Egypt, Ghana, or Senegal. This means the dream of watching their teams play could be shattered by complex paperwork and approval processes. The situation is even more difficult for fans from countries like Iran or Haiti. U.S. consular services there are suspended or severely restricted, forcing people to undertake expensive and arduous journeys to a third country just for an in-person interview, and even then, there is no guarantee of success. This marks a clear departure from the promises made when the bid was won. In 2018, the White House assured FIFA that fans would be welcomed warmly and without discrimination, yet today, It appears we are creating a two-tiered World Cup, one for approved nations, and a much more limited one for everyone else. Uniting the world was not the objective, or at least, that is how it seems, but the difficulties are not confined to borders alone. It isn't, once you are in the mix, the sheer size of the United States becomes a problem in itself. It creates logistical and financial challenges that are quite unique in the history of the World Cup. The 2026 tournament will be held across 16 cities in 3 countries stretching from Vancouver to Mexico City and New York to Los Angeles. While some group stage matches might take place in the same region, if you plan to follow your team through the later stages of the tournament, be prepared for a long haul. Your team might play in New York, then take a 5-hour flight to Los Angeles for the next round, followed by another 4-hour flight to Dallas. This is unlike tournaments held in smaller nations like Qatar, Germany, South Korea/Japan, where you could travel between cities by train in just a few hours. The United States, with its vast distances and reliance on automobiles, is not set up for that kind of travel. Public transport to some American stadiums is poor, forcing fans to rely on expensive Uber rides or rental cars, which drives up costs even further. Alongside this, concerns regarding security are mounting. There is apprehension about the heavy presence of agencies like the National Guard or ICE in the host cities. Such an environment threatens to create an atmosphere of fear rather than celebration, particularly for visitors arriving from Latin America and other parts of the world. Questions have also been raised regarding security funding. American host cities are seeking millions of dollars from the federal government to secure the event, yet reports indicate that the funding remains unresolved. This leaves the cities in a state of uncertainty. Relying on underfunded security plans for an event of this magnitude is hardly an ideal approach. So, what does it all boil down to? A tournament that is prohibitively expensive for many and financially out of reach for some, coupled with the logistical nightmares of traveling between venues. And this brings us back to the fundamental question: who is this World Cup actually for? This does not seem intended for those enthusiastic fans in South America or Africa who face financial and bureaucratic hurdles. Nor does it appear to be for the average European family, who would have to spend a fortune just to watch a few matches. It is not even for local American fans who cannot afford to watch games at the stadiums in their own cities. This is not merely an issue for 2026. It sets a dangerous precedent for the future of the sport. It marks a turning point where organizations like FIFA appear to be prioritizing corporate sponsors, VIPs, and television deals over the sport's true heart, the fans. The purpose of the World Cup is to create an atmosphere of joy across the globe. Yet, when the host nation itself becomes the biggest obstacle, that very purpose begins to unravel. And as FIFA projects record-breaking revenues potentially exceeding $11 billion over this 4-year cycle, fans are left wondering, is the World Cup no longer truly centered on the world?